I know I say it a lot, but I sort of go, this match, it changed wrestling. Changed the business. This match really did change the business.
Oh, really?
Really did. It didn't change it immediately. It only became more apparent as the change happened in the mid-2000s. This is Mankind versus The Rock.
Yes.
In their infamous I Quit match at the Royal Rumble 1999. This is one of the very few good I Quit matches. I Quit matches tend to be a little bit eggy because you have to say to the person, do you quit?
Yeah, we saw one in, I think, a WrestleMania or something.
WrestleMania 12, 13.
Yeah,
It's
like
Backlund versus Bret Hart.
Yeah, and was Piper the referee?
That's right, yeah.
Yes, and it wasn't very good.
It was a real mess. So Piper was constantly going, what do you say? What do you say? And they go, and it lacks a lot of drama. This one is very different because it involves The Rock, who is so good on the mic.
Yeah.
He is amazing in the ring. And this isn't the moment where he's transforming from being a really good young wrestler who everybody loathes but is becoming very talented into being a superstar icon. And he is so good. He has the perfect foil in this match in Mick Foley, who is coming to the end of his career, about a year away from it. I think he retires, in fact, at the following year's Royal Rumble. So he is really coming to the end of this glittering last couple of years of his career. And this match itself is unique in that it was used in Beyond the Mat, which is a film really worth seeing. And Beyond the Mat follows Foley as it builds up to this match. And it also follows his family. And one of the things that the film does so well is it shows this match with his family, his wife and his very young children watching this in horror. And
yeah, I forgot about this bit, yeah.
The reason they're watching it in horror is because it turns really horrible.
So you know Rock is Daddy's friend, right? He's not going to do anything to really hurt Daddy, right? Okay.
Don't! No! Goodbye, brain cell! Come on! Oh!
So Rock is there in his silk top and his little tracky trousers, and he is just wailing on Mick Foley.
Yeah.
Like it is going out of fashion.
Yeah, he's quite violent in this one, isn't he?
He really is. This was an idea of Mick Foley's, was to show that Rock could be hardcore.
Right.
And that he could be violent, because it's what Rock needed to go from the sort of mid-card where he's this wrestler who you can take or leave to being the most dynamic person in sports entertainment. And that's what it does. They wanted it to be brutal and they wanted it to look like Rock was absolutely heartless. I don't think anyone realised quite how brutal and heartless The Rock could be.
That's enough.
So you're quit. You're out to kill me.
And Mankind out to his feet. And what the hell are we doing? No! Please, Mick. Oh, come on. If Mr. McMahon is back there, please come do something.
What happens in the end bit is the chair shots.
Yes.
So they have a really hard-hitting match up to this point anyway. I noticed in this as well, Foley, this is last year of his career. I mean, he does come back a couple of times on different occasions, a little short run in TNA, that sort of thing. But this is his last peak years. And he moves in this so well. He's a big lad and he's fast and he's fluid. There's a bit where Rock just like propels him into the ring steps and Mankind just flies over them. It's just an astonishing level of athletic ability.
Yeah, for his body type as well. It's
absolutely amazing. And then Rock in this match is so good because, like we've seen in Hell in a Cell, Foley does a lot of the work in these matches, making people look good. And Rock does the work on the microphone. Every time that microphone's in his hand, he is making an entire crowd full of people laugh or boo. It's just magic. Shut your mouth, you piece of trash!
What do you call
piece of monkey crap!
Piece of monkey crap!
Oh! 3 times the microphone into the head of The Rock. Quit it, you one-eared freak!
You son of a bitch! The Rock is going to kick your fat ass out there!
I'll tell you, that's one good microphone. It didn't break. Mr. McMahon only buys the best.
There's a bit where Rock puts on the headphones and starts talking, to the commentators. That cocky, I'm just going to amuse myself sort of thing. And there's a weird bit where Jerry Lawler is really like, oh, my crown. It's a strange thing for like a 60-year-old man to have to worry about. Go, where's my crown? Where's my crown? Really odd.
Oh, there's a set piece where he throws Mick off the scaffold into some speakers.
A sort of balcony bit.
Balcony.
There's a good bit there where there's a woman behind, and normally wrestling fans are all going, woo! woo! And it was really good. There's a little Indian lady who's in the middle of them, and she is just horrified. She is terrified they're near to her, and it really makes it. And the people around her are sort of like patting her and sort of going, it'll be fine. And you can see she's just going, I'm not going to be fine, not going to be fine. Really odd thing. I presume she's never seen wrestling before.
Yeah, I
and
guess
they've
so.
gone, Nan, we've got you a ticket to go to see the Royal Rumble. Oh yeah, anything to
That's
get me out of the
unacceptable.
house. And then Rock's up there throwing a man off in front of you. Absolutely terrified. Foley goes into the speakers and they have them rigged up so they shoot loads of
Explode, yeah.
sparks out. But God, he takes a horrible hard bump onto those.
Really does.
And the sparkless thing, you sort of go, oh, it's all gimmicks and everything, but he just falls onto a speaker.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Oh, makes me feel sick. And then he gets handcuffed. And what happens here
my God.
is it starts off as comedy.
Yeah.
He bites the Rock and everyone goes, hey.
Yeah.
And then he knees the Rock in the balls
Yeah.
and everyone goes, woo. And then the Rock fucks him up.
The Rock puts a chair on his head and then does an elbow drop, and it's fucking horrible.
Not an elbow drop, Pete.
Is it the people's elbow?
Thank you.
Sorry.
The Rock doesn't want to have to come over there and smack you around the face. But yeah, it splits his head
The
open.
first time I actually saw that move, the footballer Stephen Harper was doing it, the Newcastle United goalkeeper, after Czech Toyota, the late great Czech Toyota, had scored a goal. And it's just the people's elbow. And somebody said, that's the people's elbow. I went, what?
What
So
is
now I
this
know
thing
what that
that
is.
in 15 years' time, we'll be talking about hour after hour. Yeah, it splits Foley's head open very badly.
Yeah.
It's a horrible wound.
I thought he'd like bladed, but then I saw the move and I was like, yeah, that one didn't.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
If it looks like another mouth, it's not a blade job. And then what happens is notoriously awful, which is Rock begins hitting Foley, who has his hands handcuffed behind his back with a chair. And he hits him again and again and again and again.
Yeah, couldn't even sort of mix up with some back shots, just head every time.
Yep, I think he hits him in total 11 times. I watched it and I was counting and I was writing. So, like, the first one I wrote bad, second worse because Foley's on his knees, third slicing, fourth crunch, fifth crunch, sixth outside the ring. And that was the only one that isn't horrible. And then 7, awful, absolute cruncher. 8, slices, what is Rock doing? Foley does look like he's been through a windscreen at this point. And the last one,
in front of his family.
I mean, his wife would have thought, well, I've seen the Hell in the Cell, so it can't get any worse.
Can't get any worse than
it's
that.
not going to be as bad as that.
I'd bring the
moment.
kids.
Oh,
The
my
Rock, for all
God.
the Rock's quite clean cut for all of his faults.
When he hits him with that last one, he hits Foley in the back of the head with that, and it's just Foley. His face is just—it's not even blood; it's like black liquid, like
Arterial blood, almost blue.
Yeah, or that someone says, you know, do you know what the colour of your bone marrow is? And you go, no, and they go, it's like on Foley's face. It's just all come out. Now, when he goes down on that one, he doesn't act like a wrestler at all. So a wrestler on the floor would be rolling around, and and Foley, he lies there like he's been hit in the head 11 times with a metal object.
Yes.
And it's every bit as bad as anything I've ever seen New Jack do. It really is. I think it's absolutely horrible.
To be fair, I've seen New Jack do a chair shot, and it's very much on the corners. He concentrates on the corners a lot.
They made a terrible mistake with this match. So the long-running thing was that Foley said he would never quit. He was the champion at this point, and he said he would never quit. And they did a gimmicked end at where they had Foley's voice pre-recorded from an interview he'd done earlier that week, coming out over the tannoy. And presumably they were going to, off the back of it, go, The Rock cheated his way to this.
Mankind, your monkey ass says I quit. I quit. I quit.
What?
I quit.
He
No, you
he
get
said
your
it.
monkey ass to the ring and award the champ.
The Rock is the champion. We have a new champion.
But after that violence and then going, here's a bit of storyline,
Yeah.
people are like, what the fuck is this? Why are you sort of like, here's something clever we fooled you about. You've caved that dude's head in.
That dude loves head in.
All I can think is, it's like if there was a serial killer and they stabbed someone a load of times and you saw them and they turned around and went, shh, our secret, wobbity-doo. You're not going to go, oh, that was fun, enjoyed that. You're just going to go, that makes it, if anything, more sinister.
That's what New Jack did. Start like stabbing. All them stabbings.
Well, I had a blade, about an 8-inch blade in my pocket. And And they said I stabbed him 14 times, and I did not stab him 14 times. I stabbed him 9. It was 9. It's on the tape. It was 9. Well, cops came. I went to jail.
This is weird because if these two weren't really successful, really popular and really well known, what you've witnessed is there's a funny thing about the definition of assault. You can and can't consent to certain levels of it.
Yeah.
So, for example, there's been very high profile cases about sadomasochism where there was a famous one that I briefly went to law school and learnt about. I didn't go specifically for this case, but it was about some consenting men, I think in maybe the early 90s, late 80s, who had been whipping their genitals with stinging nettles.
Right.
And it was decided that they could not legally consent to that punishment because it was too off the scale.
Right.
So even though they'd all consented, I think they were all found guilty of sort of obscenity because they said, no, the damage that it does and the feeling it gives, you cannot give your consent to that legally, even if you're saying, I consent to it.
Yeah.
So it's a similar thing of if I said to you, can you murder me? And you say, well, he asked me to do it. And they'll still go, yeah, but he couldn't give that consent.
Yeah.
I think if this was happening in a backyard somewhere, being filmed on a camcorder, and the same level of brutality was used, The Rock would be in prison. That is without a shadow of a doubt.
Instead of heading to the White House.
You might have noticed as well, Rock is wearing a shirt in this.
Yeah.
Bit weird, isn't it?
Oh, I'm going to speculate why. Did he have his operation?
He did.
Because someone told me that men of his, I don't know if it's an ethnicity thing or a thing, that they have...
gynomastia.
Gynomastia.
It's known as, yes.
Big old busters.
Samoan people can often get it. It's a deposit of fat, which gives you essentially man boobs. It's where the fat is depositing around the body. It is also, gynomastia, a side effect of steroid use and improper PCT. I wasn't quite sure what PCT is. Look it up. I'm sure it's to do with some kind of
Pretty
covers.
cracking tits.
Well, Rock is wearing the jacket to hide the scars after he had the surgery. Foley himself was very, very upset about this match. And you see it in Beyond the Mat. He basically said to Rock, let's do 5 chair shots.
Right.
I don't think he thought any of them were going to be quite as hard as they were.
Yeah.
What happened is Rock kept going and Foley was supposed to get down the aisle and collapse in front. The problem is he'd already taken 5 in the ring.
So he couldn't really move.
So Rock had to do another 6 on the way down to cover that ground. Foley began dipping his head and he said, I thought Rock would realise this was me saying, please don't do any more.
Yeah.
Rock didn't notice that at all. And I don't think it's even like a recognised thing.
Yeah.
So,
because you usually do stuff with your hands, don't you? If you want a signal. But
or you just say, please don't. I don't know. You have to be able to say something. I suppose he'd go,
look at my head, you idiot.
Yeah, is he in character?
Take your sunglasses off, you fucking idiot.
Of course he'd say, please don't. That's his character. Crash. I mean, it really is brutal. When they take Foley out, it's one of the first times you see Foley. He doesn't turn around to face the crowd. He doesn't walk out on his own. He is carried out. He is dragged out. There's a bit where they pick him up and there's a stretcher next to him and the blood is just pooling on the stretcher as he stands up. I mean, it's really, really gruesome. Foley was very unhappy with The Rock afterwards, not just because he felt that he'd done much too hard, taking a bit of a liberty with the numbers. Rock didn't come up to him afterwards to say, you're all right. And Foley was really, really disappointed by that. He talks about it in Beyond the Mat on camera, saying that if Rock came into that room now, he'd strangle him. And it just seemed a really sort of odd moment. Rock went too far, and I think that was Rock thought Foley could take it.
Yeah.
And that becomes the problem, is that you think Foley can take anything, and so then you start doing anything to him.
I can't. I feel like a bad dad, and I've never felt like that ever before. Right then, I just felt like I was a bad person. And I don't ever want to see my children like that again. Maybe I will be the guy who pulls his sock out of his tights for the next couple of years.
The reason this match becomes very, very important is in the wake of the Chris Benoit case in 2007. Chris Benoit murders his wife and son and then kills himself. Chris Benoit's brain was analysed as part of the autopsy, and they found that he had suffered over the course of his career lots and lots and lots of concussions. And the concussions had essentially given him the brain that was similar to an 80-year-old with Alzheimer's. So people began noticing there was a connection, possibly, between the damage to your brain and concussions. Well, the easiest way to get a concussion in wrestling would be to hit someone over the head repeatedly with a chair. Foley suffered a number of concussions during his career. Luckily, he seems to be perfectly well at the moment. Who knows how that would change in the future? Chris Nowinski, who was a former WWF wrestler, not particularly well-known one, he was at a low level. He had to retire because of concussions, and he began working with foundations who did work on concussions. And he said at the time that Chris Benoit was one of the very, very few guys who would take a chair shot to the back of his head.
Yeah.
And he said it was absolutely stupid to do so. So what you see in this match is the last hurrah, really, of the brutal chair shot.
Referee, somebody stop it! Oh, hell no! Undertaker with a steel chair in hand. Turnabout is fair play! Bending the chair around the skull of Kennedy!
There were some, until the WWE decided they would be fully banned, which they did, I think, in 2007 in the wake of the Benoit findings. Right. There have been only a few chair shots since. And one of the things that they've always done since is people have been legitimately fined for using them. So Triple H and Undertaker at WrestleMania, one of the late 20s, they used a chair and a chair shot on the head, and they were both legitimately fined considerable amounts of money. The very, very last chair shot in WWE was during a match between Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan jumped out of the ring, and Randy Orton had the chair which Bryan jumped into. They were also given hefty fines. It's no surprise as well, in the light of that Daniel Bryan was found to have numerous concussions, and they almost ended his career. He was able to come back from that. But this match stands as a testament really to a time that will never happen again, which is where the link between brain degeneration, concussions and chair shots had never really been pinned down.
Right.
So I think there's a funny thing about this match, but I think out of all the matches on the network that the WWE would prefer weren't there, I think this is the one.
Yeah.
Because I think this, to some degree, is the epitome of everything that they shouldn't have been doing. They didn't know about the connections, by all accounts. That's never been suggested. But this is one of those matches that you look and go, that can never happen again. And when you watch it back, you go, how the fuck was it allowed to happen in the first place?
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Do you want a little a post-podcast trivia treat?
Yes.
The Rock's current girlfriend and mother of his children, Mick Foley, was at her 13th birthday party.
Really?
Yep.
Why?
He was Doink the Clown. No.
When you grow up, your future husband and the father of your children, I want you get him to split my head open.
I think she's the daughter of somebody from like a mid-80s rock band. And Mick Foley was at her party because he was friends with her dad.
I look at that.
Something a bit disturbing, right, isn't there?
How different your life could be if your parents had been in a rock band.
I know.
We could both be married to the Rock now. We could be having Rock's baby. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said they got a plastic surgeon here. This thing's probably just nuts. I know. You guys okay? Daddy's all right, okay? You're worried about Dad does? Yeah. Okay, don't worry anymore, okay? It can't hurt Dad does. I know, a little boo-boo. It's a big boo-boo.